for joining us this evening. I know we're competing with a Backstreet Boy concert, so sincere thanks for joining us this evening. We are excited to honor Executive Director of W.E.A.V.E, Beth Hassett, with an Access Sacramento Power of Voice Award for her hard work, dedication, and commitment to tirelessly giving voice to vulnerable sectors of the community that don't have their own. That's what we believe in here at Access Sacramento, making a difference one voice at a time. Thank you to District 6 Council Member Eric Guetta for joining us. Cable Commissioner Sarah Polo, thank you. And District Representative from Assembly Kevin McCarty's office, Robin Kelly Denton, thank you. I also want to recognize the hardworking board and staff members of Access Sacramento. I myself am a board member of Access Sacramento. I'm the event chair and newly elected board secretary. So congratulations for all of our hard work, everybody. Again, we are here to honor Beth for everything she does for women's empowerment, equality. We welcome you to have one of our specialty drinks, which is the Sea Breeze Equality, because we want to see more equality for all. Thank you. And next up we have our board chair, Mr. Bob Smith.
Thank you, Kim Mims. Kimberly, our board secretary and great event chairperson for tonight's event. What a night it is. Hi, Beth. We are going to be celebrating everything Beth tonight, and it's going to be so much fun. But first, we're going to get Patrick Harbison to see if he can walk a mile in that shoe. Maybe not. Maybe not. Before we begin the festivities, as chairman of the board, I want to thank a few people before we kind of get the ball rolling here tonight, because certainly as a nonprofit, Access Sacramento relies on our business partners in the community. And tonight's event, the ability to put on such a nice celebration is one of those things that we rely on our sponsors to help us with. So our thanks go to just a few of our sponsors that are with us tonight. Our Courage sponsors, the Law Office of David Ash. Is David here? David's here. McGeorge graduate, I understand. David's been at it for over 25 years in Sacramento. Also, the Sacramento Theater Company is here. And by the way, they've been around since 1945. Long time, long time. And actually represented by Development Director Wendy Phoenix, right? Wendy, where are you? And by the way, just so you know, STC knew Tom Hanks before any of the rest of us did. That's true. I also want to thank all of our friends at Kaiser Permanente. And congratulations, by the way, to Kaiser Sacramento and Kaiser South Sacramento, who, if you didn't know, was just recently named by U.S. News and World Reports as two of the best overall hospitals in the state of California. So, Kaiser, people really are thriving there. And I got to give a shout out, of course, to PHPR, who is giving back yet again as one of our sponsors tonight, too. And you'll hear a little bit more from Patrick as the program goes along. We have two sponsors at our Courage level. I'd like to welcome back Stones and Danielle Backey. Are you here, Danielle? I hope so. We really appreciate that. And Comstock's Magazine Hey, Winnie Comstock Carlson. Winnie, you're 30 years old. July issue, the 360th issue of Comstock magazine. How cool is that? Comstocks. Everything that's going on in Sacramento is in Comstocks. And then a special thanks to W.E.A.V.E, of course, Women Escaping a Violent Environment. I think they love you, Beth, because they're very well represented here tonight. Your board of directors, your staff, volunteers, people that work with you. Special thanks to everyone at W.E.A.V.E. I mean, literally saving lives for over 40 years in Sacramento. So, and let me give Julie a special shout out too, because Julie did such a great job. She did. I want to talk to you just a minute about why are we here? As we celebrate Beth and W.E.A.V.E. tonight, we also recognize the power of voice that is promoted and provided through public access broadcasting. Access Sacramento is our community media center that provides all Sacramento County residents from every walk of life a platform to be heard and to be seen. Whether it's opinion, insights, opposing views, entertainment, education, inspiration, or you just got something to say, free speech lives here at Access Sacramento on 2 cable television stations and our radio station, The Voice of Sacramento, KUBU 96.5. Tune in Wednesdays at 10 for Bobby James. All right. So tonight's event supports Access Sacramento's mission of making a difference one voice at a time. And when you support public access broadcasting, we can help support community organizations, fine organizations like W.E.A.V.E. All right, one more thing before I actually sit down and we get dinner started. I want to say that I am especially proud to recognize and to thank State Farm for your leading support in tonight's event as our lead sponsor, our Empower sponsor. Supporting community causes, by the way, is a key part of State Farm's motto to help make life go right. Not only by their own generous donation of resources throughout the state of California, but by encouraging everyone in the community to participate through a referral platform known as the Neighborhood of Good. Take a look.
Crashing, hit a wall. Right now I need a miracle. Hurry now, I need a miracle. Stranded, reaching out. I call your name, but you're not around. I say your name, but you're not around. I need you, I need you, I need you right now. Yeah, I need you right now.
doing. Visit statefarmsneighborhoodofgood.com to volunteer in your community.
Don't let me down.
Thank you, State Farm. Well represented tonight by Market Area Vice President Allison Watts, and we've got a couple of our sales leaders, we've got our recruiting director, we've got a few State Farm agents in the room. So much to do, but the first thing that I would like to do is bring up Robin Kelly Dunton from Assemblyman Kevin McCarty's office, who is with us tonight. We're so pleased that the Assemblyman could share Robin with us tonight. But Beth, we have a special presentation for you. I mean, this is just sort of the preliminary, all right? This is the appetizer. Beth, we'd like to have you come on up and join Robin. Beth, in recognition of all the great work that you do in the community through W.E.A.V.E, Kevin McCarty's office has an assembly resolution acknowledging your good work here in the greater Sacramento area. And congratulations from Assemblyman Kevin McCarty and, in fact, the entire California Assembly. We appreciate you. There it is. Pictures are being taken. Very good. And we're going to let Beth sit down again, but not for very long, I can promise you that. Much more to get to tonight. Gary Martin. Some of you know Gary Martin. He is the executive director for Access Sacramento. I've come to know Gary very well over the last 3 years of my affiliation with Access and with the board of directors. Gary basically is our leader at Access. He's the one that pushes all the buttons and pulls the strings and make it all work. And when he's not busy keeping an eye on a couple of cable television stations and radio station, he's also the director of our fabulous film festival. A shameless plug is coming, the 20th anniversary place called Sacramento Film Festival, coming up October 3rd and 5th at the Crest Theater. It's going to be huge, so you'll want to make sure that you're there. Gary serves on the national board for the Alliance of Community as the Western Region representative. Previously, he served 8 years on our board of directors for Access before being named as executive director in 2013. Gary was also a college professor. Some of you may go back that far with Gary at Sacramento's Cosumnes River College in communications, where he at that time served on the national board, Broadcast Education Association, for 4 years. Gary's an Emmy-winning award TV news producer whose original broadcasting roots began in radio, so I love him. Everybody, help me welcome Executive Director Gary Martin.
Hello, everyone. How's dinner? Good? Is the plates doing a nice job? Yep. When did you first realize that what you said mattered to someone? You know, as children, we don't think we have much of importance to say. You know, we talk to our parents and we talk to our relatives, we talk to our friends, but we figure mostly that what we say really isn't going to matter and that someone else is going to decide and that we move on. But at some point in your life, you realized that someone really did want to know what you had to say. I can remember 2 specific instances that made a difference in terms of the way I thought about myself. Before I became involved in broadcasting to any great degree, when I was in college, I decided I was going to become a basketball referee, baseball umpire. And I went out in the middle of a 6th or 7th grade basketball game, standing there with the captains at the middle of the field. And one of them turned to me and had a question, and he called me Mr. Martin. And I looked around undoubtedly thinking, is that my dad? You know? Suddenly, I was at that age when someone was going to respect me enough to actually call me Mr. My very first job actually out of high school was in broadcasting, and Bob, thank you for mentioning my radio roots. I left high school and immediately got my FCC license and started to sign on a radio station in San Luis Obispo, California, KVEC, 9:20 a.m. For 6 hours on Sunday mornings, I got to play church programs. Yes, after the ABC News, about 9:10 in the morning, I would say, it's 9:10 on KVEC, and time for Treasures from Tanakh, inspirational messages from the Old Testament from Rabbi, and I don't even remember his name, but I can get that far in the script. And let me tell you, that was just a little piece. I was starting to be a broadcaster, right? Until the day that someone heard me talking in the grocery store and said, "Are you on the radio?" Someone actually recognized that I was on radio, I was in broadcasting. I always figured the only one who was really listening was my mom. She was in town. I figured that she could do that. But those instances where what you say suddenly makes a difference is telling. And I think probably each of you can remember that moment when someone turned to you and really was listening to you for what you had to say. You were making a difference. And for Access Sacramento, that is our slogan, making a difference, one voice at a time. Because as a free speech and democracy outreach operating 2 cable channels and a radio station, there are so many people in this world, in our area, in Sacramento County, who feel like they are unheard, that they are unimportant. And Access Sacramento's mission is to help them come to understand that what they say is important. And that's really our mission. So what I'd like to do is to show you a short video, because there are a variety of programs that you will never see on commercial television. But they are from your friends and from your neighbors and from those people who have found that Access Sacramento helps them make a difference. Let's take a look at some programs only seen on Access Sacramento. is just a selection of programs from Access Sacramento. We are very proud of the programs that come to us from community members, from those people who are, through the very efforts of their own time, skill, and energy, are able to create content that otherwise would not be seen in Sacramento County at all. We're very grateful to the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission for supporting us for the last 32 years in helping us to operate Channel 17 and 18, and ultimately our radio station, KUBU 96.5 FM, the voice of Sacramento. Cable Commissioner Sarah Polo is here, and Eric Guerra from the City of Sacramento. We thank you for all of the money that you provide in order to make us successful. And yes, as you look at those programs, you realize that there are nonprofits that are there are arts and cultural organizations, there are election forums, there's Game of the Week. Comcast Hometown, which does some high school sports from around Northern California, does not come to Sacramento County. Why? Because we've been doing it here for 20 years and doing it better than they can. And that is in part because we build the equipment that is necessary and train staff to demonstrate what is necessary for your high school athletes to be seen, to be supported by Division I scholarship schools. All of that becomes possible because of the money that comes from organizations like you sitting here and supporting the power of voice, but also for the Cable Commission that ultimately foots the biggest part of the bill. You know, in our orientation, we talk to our members who want to come and join us about how the outreach that they currently do is very valuable. When you put something on Facebook, when you put it on Twitter, when you put it out into the community in some other way, I pointed this out in orientation and also to this group last year. We call that narrowcasting, because you are shooting that information out to just the few people who are your friends, your family, your connection points. When you put something on Access Sacramento, you are broadcasting. And you don't know who you're going to pick off with your message and to affect change in ways that otherwise would not be possible. Access Sacramento provides distribution on 2 cable channels and the radio station, but we also provide training, because for those of you who maybe are interested in creating a program, we can help you do that. It's pretty tough, you know. You all have a television station in your pocket on your iPhone, and I would show you mine, but it's back at the table. And that iPhone can take pictures and it can stream. But the point there is that it might look like it's an earthquake, and we can help you do that better. We can help you make it sound better as well. So TV studio, checkout equipment, we provide all of that. And with a membership in Access Sacramento and a little bit of training, it's like getting your library card. It doesn't cost you anything to check the book out. It doesn't cost you anything to use our studio. It doesn't cost you anything in order to be able to check out equipment. And that's an important piece, because we don't want to get in the way of your voice being heard in Sacramento County. It's important to recognize, too, that in events like this, we recognize people like Beth Hassett and the work of W.E.A.V.E. Because as Access Sacramento shares messages, that's kind of what Beth has been doing for her 24 years at W.E.A.V.E. She's been helping people to feel like they are heard, to feel like they make a difference, to feel like they no longer have to say, I hurt, and that I have no choice, that I have no solution. And W.E.A.V.E. provides solutions. And tonight, as part of that, we really come to recognize Beth for the work that she has done, but also in her spirit of communicating, because that is the power of voice. And that's why we've invited all of you here tonight to help hear our story, but also to hear her story as well. People need to be heroes in their own lives. That's what W.E.A.V.E. helps people to do. And Beth is a hero herself. And so we recognize her and honor her tonight. And there's a lot more to say about Beth, but with that note, I'm going to invite all of you to enjoy the rest of this program because we really have some powerful things to say about Beth. And in order to help that story move along, let me invite up a friend to all of us, Patrick Harbison from Patrick Harbison Communications, who can take us down this path. Thank you, everyone, for being here and supporting Access Sacramento.
You get in here. All right, we first just have to start by saying, can we talk about this pantsuit on Beth? That is a yes. That is what we call a yes moment. Congratulations, Beth. So, folks, they asked me to say a few words about not only Beth and the amazing work that she does and that W.E.A.V.E. does day in and day out, but they asked me to also speak a little bit about the power of the Voice Award itself. I was very lucky and very honored and humbled 2 years ago to be the recipient of this award, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Although it seems silly because a lot of what PHPR tries to prioritize day in and day out is partnering with local nonprofits that do good work. And so it felt silly to be recognized as an individual for that because all I was doing was storytelling the great work that people like Beth do every single day. So it's lovely to be a part of tonight's celebration for you. And I know that I'm also in some really good company because we've got other past recipients in the crowd. So if I could call your names, if you wouldn't just mind standing up and saying hello. Ginger Rutland is here. Ginger. Ginger is a now retired Sacramento Bee editorial writer and is largely credited with, frankly, saving Access Sacramento many years ago. She was awarded the Power of the Voice in 2014. We've got Jerry Perry here. Where is Jerry? There he is in the back of the room. Jerry, I know I speak for so many people in the room when I say it is wonderful to see you up and out, and it's just a pleasure. Our heart is with you. We love you, Jerry. This man put Sacramento on the map in terms of the music scene and has been instrumental in developing and curating new talent. He received the award in 2016, so congratulations again. And then, of course, how can we forget Gina Knapp of Front Street Animal Shelter, last year's recipient. I think we're in the hundreds of thousands of saved animals because of this woman and her great work. And I have it on good authority that Gina is retiring later this year. So congratulations on that, Gina. We love to see everyone here. You know, there is so much to celebrate, right? We've already acknowledged some amazing people. And I think one of the things that you heard Bob and Gary speak to earlier is that Access Sacramento really can promote and highlight the really good work that so many people in this room are doing throughout our city and our region. And to help talk a little bit more about that, it is my pleasure to welcome our next speaker. Please welcome Vice Mayor Eric Guerra to the stage.
All right, everybody, let's give Patrick a big round of applause here again. We've got one of our best advocates in here, the city of Sacramento. So it's great to be here, not only as your vice mayor, but more importantly, as the council member and neighbor of the location of Access Sacramento in District 6. Big round of applause for Gary Martin, all our team at Access Sacramento here today. So we're all here tonight because as a city, as a community, and as a region, we believe in the power of speech, of free speech and the First Amendment. And it's exciting to be here to see some of our supporters. I do want to, again, thank, I see Fox 40 over there, Pedro over there. Let's give him a big round of applause. Who's covering a lot of the beats. Thank you for covering Stockton Boulevard, my friend. I see the Sacramento Business Journal was here too. Give them a big round of applause for covering issues of child care, making sure that that's on the forefront. And also Sacramento Magazine, keeping it local. Let's give them a big round of applause. I got to give a personal thanks to a constituent of mine and neighbor who's committed a lot of time to the Sacramento Bee. Let's give a round of applause for Ed Fletcher over there. Thank you, Ed Fletcher. It is an election year, so just remember that, my friend. No, but it's great to be here because free speech allows us to move the needle on important issues, to change people's lives, and tonight we're honoring that. The Power of Voice Award recognizes those individuals who've taken action, been active, and participants in actually increasing opportunities for other people by spearheading the voice of those, even particularly those underrepresented, those who may feel they may not have a voice, and those who may not even know our own language. And sometimes it goes even beyond that. As a representative from our city, I do have to ask for another round of applause for those who speak on behalf of our furry buddies. Gina Knapp, give her a big round of applause. Thank you for her service to our city of Sacramento. We love you at the Front Street Shelter and everything you've done for our city. The Power of Voice Award, is one that I'm proud to have been part of the Cable Commission and helped out Access Sacramento, but I couldn't have done it without more expanding that voice, resonating that voice. And you can only resonate that voice by bringing in more people to that action. And I know I can't do that without my appointee to the Cable Commission, who has helped increase the funding every single year to fought to get a digital truck for Access Sacramento, to help the employees get an increase in their wages. I want to give a big round of applause and recognition for someone who's been fighting for Access Sacramento, and that's Cable Commissioner Sarah Polomu over there. Thank you very much, Sarah, for your efforts. She gives up a lot of her personal time in life to making sure that we have not only support for Access Sacramento, but for all of our other public broadcasting areas, whether it's KQED, whether it's Capital Public Radio, but all of them. She's making sure that that free speech is something we're fighting for. This award, again, recognizes someone who believes that democracy only happens in a place where everybody's voices are heard, even if they're not the ones saying it. Because a democracy only is functional when all of us are putting into it. And at a time in our country, and a time in our nation where we see so much of noise, but I think lack of voice, we need now more than ever champions who are doing that, and especially those who are vulnerable. Our honoree tonight has worked to build a community that fights for that and that does not tolerate those who have lost their voice, who does not tolerate sexual assault, who does not tolerate domestic violence, and who does not tolerate human trafficking. Today, we're recognizing a person who has offered victims the support that they need to be safe and to thrive and to have a voice. 30 years ago, I found myself and my mother, my younger brother, and my younger sister, only 7 years old, running in the middle of the night, in the middle of orchards, away from a violent situation in the household. My mother running away from a difficult time of domestic violence in a rural community with very little help. We found ourselves hitchhiking all the way to the neighboring city of Woodland and living in a motel. And to have good Americans who cared, good people who wanted to give us a voice, changed our life. I wouldn't be here but for people who took that voice, and today it's my honor that we're thanking someone who has given 24 years of fighting for this as the CEO. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a rumble and a big round of applause for the Power of Voice awardee, Beth Hassett. We as a city and a region cannot do it. Standing ovation, please stand up, give her a big round of applause. We can't have a city without people like Beth Hassett. We may be different people, but as a city, we're stronger together because of Beth Hassett. Thank you very much, everybody. Go Sacramento, go Beth Hassett.
One more time, keep it going for your vice mayor. How amazing is Eric? We are so thankful for your leadership And he said it best. I mean, I think when you hear that stat, 24 years. Man, that's incredible. 24 years. So, before we bring Beth up to make her own remarks, there's one more special thing that we wanted to do for you. W.E.A.V.E's staff and volunteers from over 32 locations cannot be here physically today, but they are with us in spirit and with this video. Can we roll the tape?
Hi, I'm Beth Hassett, the CEO here at W.E.A.V.E. You may wonder what I do all day and what a CEO really means here at W.E.A.V.E.
I have no idea, besides world domination.
Dave again schmoozing over coffee.
Beth goes out into the community and gathers money to make me happy.
The question is, what doesn't she do all day?
She really likes sparkling water.
Lunchtime with more schmoozing.
She might actually be a rep for LaCroix.
She was just here. She's like Waldo. She's always on the move, always going.
Dinner time, schmoozing again.
That's it. That's all I know.
To answer the question of what does Beth Hassett do all day, we need to do something we call Beth Map. Here we have Beth. We'll add in some bangs to make it more lifelike. Beth has worked at W.E.A.V.E. for 24 years, 365 days a year, 6 leap years, plus it's been 2 weeks since her W.E.A.V.E. anniversary. We have taken into account an average of 2 weeks vacation per year, leaving us with 8,444 days of Beth. What does Beth have to show for her 8,444 days? We have 130 beds, safe and confidential shelter, 4 24/7 response teams, staff at 34 locations, 3 thrift stores, 5 phone transitions, and she's made me move my office 6 times. Plus, she's helped us acquire 1,300 pairs of very large shoes. She's also taken fundraising from $250,000 a year to $2.5 million. To answer the question, what does Beth do all day? It really doesn't matter, because as Beth would say, it'll all work out.
In the day is usually just cut through the BS, make sure that people know that she's in the room, and make sure that the right thing and the fun thing and the good thing is done for our community.
You continue to lead and inspire. You are changing the face of not just Sacramento, but of the national landscape when it comes to girls and women's safety. I know from knowing you that our children are going to grow up in a safer world. No one is more deserving of this award than you.
My mom spends her days encouraging women to be strong and to be courageous, whether it be the women she works for, the women she works with, or the women she worked to bring into this world.
I've learned that the special gift that Beth has, besides her brilliant mind, is an incredibly fierce and loyal friendship. But don't take my word for it. Ask a few of her friends.
Congratulations!
Congratulations, Beth.
Congrats, Beth.
Congratulations, Beth!
Congratulations, Beth!
Congratulations, Beth!
Congratulations, Beth!
Congratulations, Beth!
Congratulations, congratulations, Beth!
Congratulations, Beth!
Congratulations, Beth!
Congratulations, Beth!
Congratulations, Beth! Congratulations, Beth!
You work all day, every day to make this community better and safer. You give voice to victims who need it. You bring together activists and donors, and you bridge the gap between the people who need help and the people who can help. I picture W.E.A.V.E. as a giant battering ram for good, and you are front and center pushing as hard as you can. As long as you're there doing that, I'll be right behind you. I'm so glad that you've picked W.E.A.V.E. to spend 24 years of your life because you've made a difference. You've made the world a safer place for my daughter, and I'm grateful. You deserve this recognition. Congratulations, and thank you.
One more time, everybody. Congratulations, Beth. Come on up, Beth Hassett. You've got a lot of fans in the room, for sure. I just want to tell you, as chairman of the board at Access Sacramento, each year we get together around springtime, March or April. We take a real look at worthwhile civic organizations, charitable organizations in the greater Sacramento area, and as you know, there are many. And we take a look at the good work, the hard work that these organizations do, and especially at what they're able to accomplish. And I have to tell you, Beth, that as we sat around the boardroom taking a look at the candidates for this year's Power Voice Award, you had us at hello. It was unanimous. And on behalf of the board of directors, I want to congratulate you as our Power Voice Award winner this year.
I've got a few hours worth of remarks here. I'm just trying to figure out how you guys all got in my house to do that filming. I don't usually read speeches, as Julie Bornhoft, who likes to write my speeches, will tell you. But I'm going to tonight, and I'm a weeper, so I'm going to try to get through this. On July 17th of 1995, 3 things occurred that would change my perspective and send me down the path that's led me here tonight to gratefully accept this award. That morning, I walked through the doors of W.E.A.V.E for my first day as the 278th employee. Meanwhile, witnesses in the Oj Simpson Trial were discussing how the defendant injured his hand, and the new issue of Forbes magazine announced that Bill Gates was the richest man in the world. These 3 events 24 years ago would inspire me to step up and to speak up. In a business ethics class during my junior year of college, one of my fellow finance majors, John Marriott III, stated, "Everyone in America is afforded the same opportunities, and if they don't choose to avail themselves of them, there's nothing I can do about it." At the time, I was shocked by his naivete, his privilege, and his lack of empathy. But I wasn't sure what I could do about it either. When I came to W.E.A.V.E, I was finally ready to do whatever I could to be a change agent, to make sure that our community understands that we don't all start on an even playing field, and to ensure that the most vulnerable among us have access to the help they need to be safe and thrive. Perhaps, I realized, I could be the voice for those who can't speak for themselves. The Oj Simpson Trial was a groundbreaking event for the domestic violence field. Suddenly, somebody rich and famous was part of the story. The trial was shining a new light on the complex dynamics of domestic violence and challenging the public's beliefs about who a victim or a perpetrator might be. And people were actually talking about it. For years, victims' voices had been silenced, and abuse was a private thing, a shameful thing not to be spoken of. And I was proud to be part of a new conversation and a new awareness about the impact of interpersonal violence on communities and families, and to be a voice for the survivors. Perhaps, I realized, I could help change the narrative and make sure the voices of survivors are heard and that their stories actually matter. For any of you who've ever worked in fundraising, you've likely had a well-meaning board or committee member say, "We should ask Bill Gates for that money." And like me, you've probably rolled your eyes and muttered, "Do you know Bill Gates? Do you have his number? Are you gonna call him?" Well, Bill Gates changed the face of philanthropy, and his view of philanthropy as a true partnership between organizations and people with resources was an inspiration to me. For him, the power isn't in the financial donation itself, it's in the connection between donors and the people whose lives they change. Perhaps, I realized, I could amplify the voices of survivors and share the stories of their lives with passionate, caring people willing to help me do something about it. And I've met many, many Bill Gates in this community who are connecting to the stories of our clients and are doing heroically philanthropic things every day. I have the privilege of being a voice for survivors in a public setting, at the Capitol, and in the media, and I strive to honor their unique life experiences. The more stories we share, the more real the complexity of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking become. the more empathy the community feels for survivors, and the more likely bystanders, friends, and families are to notice when somebody among them is suffering. And we know so many victims seek help after seeing themselves in other people's stories. Even after all these years, I'm working to listen more and listen differently to the unserved and underserved communities. If we're going to heal, all voices need to be heard. Thank you so much, Access Sacramento, for encouraging Sacramentans to tell their stories, and for this great honor. When you honor me, you honor the people I serve. I'd also like to thank the many people who help inform my thoughts, and now is when I'm going to start weeping, and actions, and support me in my work. My board of directors for joining me on this journey, providing vision and bringing their passion and their voices to the table. My leadership team and brilliant, hardworking, empathetic staff and volunteers at W.E.A.V.E. who bear compassionate witness to the survival stories we see in the works every day. My colleagues in this community who help me ensure that the safety net is in place for victims and that their voices are at the table. The donors who give selflessly and generously to provide funds to support W.E.A.V.'s mission. Without money, there's no mission, so thank you. To my many friends, many of whom are out here tonight, who snuck into my house somehow, who support my work, keep me accountable, lift me up, and give my life balance. To my daughters, Leah and Eden, who inspire me to make the world a safer place, a place where every woman, child, and man feels safe in their homes and in their streets and in their own bodies. To my husband, Kevin, who has put up with my very loud voice for 33 years, and whose flexibility and support give me the spaciousness and the energy to do this work. And finally, the thousands of clients who trust us with their stories and their lives each year and give my life meaning. Thank you.